We put our trust in Trump to stand up for gun owners, and this is how he repays us? His latest pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi is a slap in the face to every Second Amendment supporter in this country. She talks a good game about gun rights, but her record? Flip-floppier than a fish out of water. In this video, we're going to tear into why this nomination should have every gun owner up in arms, the insane amount of power the Attorney General has over our rights, and how a bad pick like this could spell disaster for the Second Amendment. Let's not sugarcoat it. Bondi's record is a mess. 1 minute, she's supporting stand your ground laws, and the next, she's backing red flag laws that strip law-abiding citizens of their firearms without due process. And now she's supposed to be the top cop in the country? Give me a break. If you're tired of getting sold out by the very people who promise to defend your rights, stay tuned. It's time to call this out for what it is: a betrayal of everything gun owners stand for. The Attorney General of the United States holds unparalleled authority over the nation's legal landscape, directly impacting the enforcement and interpretation of laws, including those governing firearms. As the head of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General oversees agencies like the ATF, an agency with the sole purpose of making it difficult for us law-abiding gun owners to own and enjoy our guns. So the Attorney General's position wields significant power influence over how gun laws are applied, potentially shaping the future of Second Amendment rights. Under the Obama administration, Attorney General Eric Holder was a staunch advocate for stricter gun control measures and epitomized the anti-Second Amendment agenda with his relentless pursuit of restrictive gun control measures. His tenure was marred by a blatant disregard for constitutional rights, as he championed policies that sought to disarm law-abiding citizens under the guise of public safety. Holder's disdain for the Second Amendment was evident early in his career. In a 1995 speech, he arrogantly declared the need to brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way, revealing his intent to manipulate public perception to achieve his disarmament goals. As Attorney General, Holder aggressively pushed for the reinstatement of the federal assault weapons ban, a policy that had previously failed to reduce crime but succeeded in infringing upon individual liberties. His unwavering support for this ineffective legislation highlighted his commitment to eroding gun rights. Holder's tenure was also tainted by the disastrous Operation Fast and Furious, a reckless scheme by the ATF that allowed firearms to fall into the hands of criminals, resulting in tragic consequences. This debacle not only endangered lives, but also underscored his administration's hypocrisy in enforcing gun laws. Even after leaving office, Holder continued his crusade against gun rights, hypocritically accusing political opponents of being too closely aligned with the gun lobby, while ignoring his own failures and the complexities of gun violence. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, serving under the Trump administration, betrayed our trust through actions that directly infringed upon our rights under the Second Amendment. His most egregious act was the implementation of a federal ban on bump stocks, devices that allow semi-automatic firearms to mimic the firing rate of fully automatic weapons. This move came in the wake of the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, where such devices were used, leading to a knee-jerk reaction that punished law-abiding gun owners rather than addressing the root causes of violence. Sessions' decision to classify bump stocks as quote-unquote machine guns under federal law was a blatant overreach, effectively criminalizing possession of these devices without legislative action from Congress. This regulatory fiat bypassed the democratic process, setting a dangerous precedent for future infringements on gun rights. Moreover, Sessions failed to take meaningful action to roll back existing gun control measures imposed by previous administrations. his tenure lacked the proactive defense of Second Amendment rights that gun owners had anticipated, leaving in place numerous restrictions that continue to burden lawful firearm owners. The importance of the Attorney General's position cannot be overstated for gun owners. This role holds the power to either uphold or undermine Second Amendment protections through discretionary enforcement and legal challenges. Decisions made by the Attorney General on critical issues such as red flag laws, assault weapon bans, and ATF overreach can have profound and lasting effects on our Second Amendment rights across the nation. The Attorney General's stance on red flag laws plays a huge role in how these unconstitutional laws are implemented and weaponized. These laws don't just temporarily remove firearms, they seize them outright, treating law-abiding citizens like criminals without even giving them their day in court. It's not just a slap in the face to due process, it's a full-blown assault. With a single accusation, often from someone with a grudge, gun owners can find their property confiscated, their rights stripped away, and their names dragged through the mud, all before they even hear the charges against them. An Attorney General who backs red flag laws isn't just a problem. They're an outright danger to every gun owner in this country. Then there's assault weapon bans, another favorite tool for anti-gun politicians to punish law-abiding Americans. These bans don't target criminals. They target honest citizens who dare to own the firearms they have every right to possess. An Attorney General who supports these bans can twist public opinion and push unconstitutional legislation, turning some of the most popular and effective self-defense firearms into contraband. Oh, and yes, before we forget, there's the ATF, which is already infamous for overstepping its bounds. The Attorney General directly oversees the ATF, meaning they can greenlight all sorts of regulatory overreach. With the wrong person in charge, you'll see more arbitrary rules, stricter definitions for firearm components, and crackdowns on gun dealers that make it harder for law-abiding Americans to exercise their Second Amendment rights. The Attorney General holds massive sway over the legal battles that define our Second Amendment rights. They decide which laws to defend and which to leave to rot, shaping the judicial landscape for gun owners across the country. When it comes to state-level gun control measures, their choice to fight or ignore these laws can establish precedents that either reinforce or erode our rights nationwide. And let's be clear, an anti-2A Attorney General isn't just a nuisance. They're a direct threat to every gun owner in America. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Attorney General wields unparalleled power, and their stance can mean the difference between freedom and overregulation. A nominee with a track record of supporting gun control measures? That's a nightmare for anyone who values the Constitution. Their influence extends beyond flashy policies to underhanded shifts in enforcement priorities, making it harder for honest citizens to exercise their rights while criminals run free. Pam Bondi's potential appointment as Attorney General should send shivers down the spine of every gun owner. Her record is a chaotic mess of contradictions. Yes, she's supported stand your ground laws, but she's also backed red flag laws and age restrictions on firearm purchases, policies that treat law-abiding citizens like ticking time bombs. Her inconsistency makes her a wild card in a position where reliability is critical. An Attorney General like Bondi, with her mixed record, doesn't inspire confidence. What happens when enforcement priorities become arbitrary or politically driven? Constitutional rights could vanish overnight under the guise of public safety. This isn't just speculation. It's a very real possibility if Bondi's nomination goes through, and it's all thanks to Trump. The guy's track record with gun owners is a mixed bag. Sometimes he's the hero of the Second Amendment, but most of the time, he's the villain. His tenure is proof that words don't always align with actions, and for gun owners, that's a dangerous game. When Trump appointed 3 conservative justices to the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, gun owners had every reason to celebrate. These appointments created a court more inclined to defend the Second Amendment, and we've seen the ripple effects in cases that challenge overreaching gun laws. For example, in the landmark case New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Inc. v. Bruin, the Supreme Court struck down New York's restrictive concealed carry law in 2022, affirming that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. Justice Clarence Thomas authored the majority opinion, with Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett concurring, reinforcing the constitutional right to bear arms in public. Then there's the United States v. Rahimi case, in which the court addressed whether individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders could be prohibited from possessing firearms. Just 6 months ago, the court upheld the federal law restricting firearm possession in such cases, with Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett joining the majority opinion, indicating a nuanced approach to gun rights that considers public safety concerns. So yeah, Trump appointing Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett significantly influenced the Supreme Court's approach to Second Amendment issues and the protection of our rights as gun owners. Trump also made public declarations supporting concealed carry and self-defense rights, positioning himself as a champion of gun owners. You may remember that during his 2024 presidential campaign, the guy made bold declarations supporting concealed carry and self-defense rights, positioning himself as a staunch defender of the Second Amendment. In a speech, he stated, "I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line." Trump showing his commitment to gun rights was further solidified by the NRA endorsing him during his 2024 campaign. He accepted the endorsement at the NRA convention, where he addressed thousands of members, urging them to vote in the upcoming election and reinforcing his dedication to protecting Americans' gun rights. We thought with all of these public declarations and endorsements, he was going to be a reliable ally in our fight for our 2A rights. His advocacy for concealed carry reciprocity and self-defense rights resonated with many of us. But ultimately, Trump nominating Pam Bondi as Attorney General means he hasn't changed his flippity-floppity ways when it comes to the Second Amendment. So the important question is, where does this guy really stand? Is he really on our side? Or is he just saying what we want to hear? The bump stock ban and his Parkland comments aren't minor missteps. They're glaring warnings that he's willing to compromise when the heat is on. Gun owners don't need fair-weather friends. We need leaders who will fight tooth and nail for our rights, no matter what. With another term on the horizon, we have to ask ourselves, will he throw gun owners under the bus again when it's politically convenient? With Bondi's inconsistent record on the Second Amendment, it's absolutely critical that the Senate confirmation hearings are used to grill her on every single one of her past positions. She needs to answer for her support of red flag laws, age restrictions, and any other policies that have infringed on gun rights. Transparency is not optional here. Gun owners deserve to know exactly where she stands, and anything less than a firm, unwavering defense of the Second Amendment should disqualify her from the role. As law-abiding gun owners, this isn't the time to sit back and wait. We should email our senators, flood their inboxes, call them, and make our voices heard. Please share videos like these with your family and friends to spread awareness. Grassroots efforts have toppled anti-gun initiatives before, and we can do it again. Let's remind those in power that their positions depend on respecting the Constitution and the rights it guarantees. Trump's pick of Bondi is disappointing. He talks big about supporting gun owners, but actions like this mean he is clueless about the Second Amendment. Still, we can use this moment to push for better. It's not too late for Trump and others in government to course correct. And that's all for this video. What do you think about Trump's overall commitment to the Second Amendment? Let us know in the comments below. If there was value in this video for you, or if you like what we do here, please leave like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated. The fight for our gun rights isn't over, and your voice matters now more than ever.